Hello, hi, good evening.
We back, top of the evening.
We are here. Happy Thursday.
Yes. Let me see. All is well.
Oh, I mean, we're here. We are here. We are here. We are blessed. We are alive. But as we were talking about offline, this weather is killing like slowly. Like I'm over it. Let's be honest. Like I'm just over this weather. I'm ready to get out of here, but here was where we are. We are here and we deal with it. We are here and we do it. How's your week been? Let's talk about that.
Well, my week is good. Um, my week is good. No complaints here. Of course, here, if you haven't heard, in Atlanta, we're about to get some snow or bad weather this weekend. So,
Insane.
so people are kind of cray cray. We're in the straight right here. You go to the store, everybody's going buying everything, ain't no food, ain't no bread, ain't no water. Everybody's going 0 to 100. But
Wow.
besides that, all is well. Great week. A short week because we had Monday off because of the holiday. So it's no
Yes.
here. How
How
about
did you spend your Monday? How did you spend your MLK day?
I didn't do nothing. I didn't work. I relaxed, chilled, and just Netflix, play some games, talk with the fellas. I didn't do nothing. I ain't go nowhere. I ain't do nothing. I just relaxed.
I love that for you. What did you watch on Netflix? I'm curious to know if you watched the series I watched. What would you watch on Netflix?
I didn't watch this. Well, so the one movie, free plug. So Netflix, if y'all want to throw some money, yeah, it did pay for the show. But I would definitely recommend seeing this action-packed movie called The Rip with Matt Damon, Ben Affleck,
Okay.
Breonna Taylor. It's star-studded, but it's a very good suspense action
Putting
movie.
that on. I'm putting that on. I think it's on my list already, but hear me go. Yes, Netflix, give us a deal because I'm literally going on Netflix to make sure I have. Yeah, I have it here, and I'm about to put it on my list. Done. I will watch it this weekend.
Yeah, and then also I'm late to the party, so don't come for me in the comments and whatnot. But Stranger Things I started binge watching as well. So yeah, season
Do you
two.
know Stranger Things is Canadian? It's a
Not
Canadian show.
didn't
Yeah.
know.
It is Canadian. I haven't even watched it yet, but I've heard great things. Like it's award season coming up, and so once the nominations and stuff come up for our awards, I'm gonna binge watch a bunch of shows so I know what the heck is happening when I'm sitting there in the audience. So, but it is Canadian. That's amazing. I am definitely going to watch The Rip. I actually was watching this new series called His and Hers.
I knew he was gonna
I
say that.
haven't. I
Mhm.
haven't finished it yet. I haven't finished it yet. I'm supposed to be watching it with my daughter. And so we watched the first four episodes, and I'm waiting for her to have some time where we can watch the remaining. And then I watched another series called Runaway.
Okay.
That one was interesting. It's been cold here. So honestly, I left the house Sunday. I didn't leave the house until yesterday, and then I had to go into the office partially today, and I have to go tomorrow. And it is like minus. It is a lot of minus, a lot of minus in wind chill. And I don't have a vacation until March, and I am regretting that I didn't book something for February because I need a break. Like, I need a break. I need a break. But I digress. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Like, I should not complain. There is someone out there that is praying for my problems as I say here that oh my God, I can't go on vacation until March. But no, it is so cold out here. Anyway, welcome everybody. We want to thank everybody for coming. This is going to be an interesting conversation. I think it might spark some debate live, and it's likely going to spark some debate for those of you watching in the replay. And I want to also say thank you to our new followers. We gained some new subscribers over the weekend. We gained, it's not a huge number, but we gained about 12 new subscribers, I noticed, based on a clip I put up over the weekend. So I want to thank everybody again. I have been growing this channel organically. over the last few years. Finally, I'm going to get some help. We might see the show change up a bit because I need some help to start to market this because your girl is tired of doing everything by herself. So the show is going to change over the next couple of months, and Twins and I are going to be excited about these changes. But for those of you who have been supporters, we appreciate it. Like Twin said, like, share. If you're here and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe because it will help us. So let's go into it. Let me ask the critical question. Okay, so we're going to talk about marriage. And the question that I asked is marriage ownership? So that's the first question. And then the second question is, and who really benefits from marriage? So let's start with the first question. Is marriage ownership?
In a sense, yes. The man belongs to the woman and the woman belongs to the man. When I speak to that type of ownership thing, when I say, based on the question, ownership, right? It's not that I'm your leader, but I'm not like a king of you. I mean, I do have some says of what you can do. You have some things that I can't do. So it goes both ways. So when I say ownership, I'm mainly speaking to the part that you belong to me, meaning that we're exclusive to each other. Once I put that ring in your finger, what's yours is mine, and mine is yours. And I know you're going to say what's yours is yours, and mine is yours. Whatever how that
I hate
goes.
that stupid saying.
It's stupid saying, but that's the point. That's just on that part of ownership is what I'm speaking to. That I own that particular my woman. I own her, so she can't talk to another guy. She can't do this with another guy. None of that because you belong to me. I'll land my plane from there. Plane right there for now. Your thoughts?
You know what? I'm actually irritated these days. The fact that we have to put caveats on things and explain things before we answer things. That is just plain. Is marriage ownership? Yes, it is. It's a very plain, simple answer coming from me. Marriage is ownership because if it wasn't, we wouldn't have stipulations around what you can do as a married person and what I can do as a married person, right? When I am single, free, and sexy, I can do whatever it is I want on these streets. There are no caveats to what I can do, when I can do it, whom I can do it with, right? When you are married, forget even just being in a relationship, when you are married, there are certain understandings that you cannot do X, right? So let's say you cannot just go on a date with someone else. Why? Because you're married. Why can't you do that? Because you belong to someone else, right? My car, my friends can't just come to my house, take my car keys, and drive my car to their home. Why? Because that car belongs to me. Why? Because I own it. So it is so interesting. We understand that basic concept of ownership, but the moment we put it around something like marriage, people get all up in their feelings. And I think it's like, I think we really need to understand what that means. Okay. And I love what you said. It is not a patriarchal, you belong to your husband and your husband owns you, but it is possession. It is possession. And I think we just need to just make it simple. When I get married again, I understand that I am my husband's possession and he is mine. Plain and simple, no question. I'd love your thoughts on that. Because like the putting caveats around things, I'm tired of the fact that we need to do that.
Completely understand. So what you said, when you're single, you're free, do whatever you want, when you want, how you want, X, Y, Z, right? When you're single,
on the streets, this is me.
You're out. Now you have that ring slid on that left hand, that rock, whatever it may be. Now, let me ask you this question. If you want to hang out with the girls, your married friends or whatnot, whatever, you want to go out, you want to go get a drink or something like that, are you just going to go out and do it, or are you going to check with your husband first before you do it?
I'm check with my husband first. Maybe he has plans. I will give you an example. We're in a group chat, me and my friends. Okay, we're in a group chat. we made reservations to go to have a happy hour next Tuesday at this taco spot. In the group chat yesterday, my best friend who is married came and said, "Hey guys," left us for, "Hey guys, I know we had plans for Tuesday, but I can't go. Right? Can we switch it to Wednesday?" And we're all going back and forth because we're busy people and things are happening with schedule. And she said, "Hey guys, listen, my husband has a game I totally forgot about, and so like I gotta go. Like I'm going, like he's playing, and then she's gonna take their son, and they're gonna go and watch that game." She's like, "I forgot to check with him." Okay. Do you think we were like, "Oh my God, girl, what do you mean you need to check with him?" Yeah, bitch. Like your husband has a game and you're going to that game. Our bad. We will reschedule. So no, I am not just going to make girl. I'd be like, "Hey babe, so we're thinking about having girls' night on Tuesday. Are we good for that night? Like, were you planning for us to do something or not?" It's not a, because again it's a patriarchal society and mine. No, that's my husband. It's just a semblance of respect that I have for this man, because he may have plans. There might be something that he was trying to surprise me with, whatever. Like he might have forgot to tell me, "Hey babe, we have dinner with my CEO or a client or something." So I check in. I don't think there's a problem with that. Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
Okay, no, which is I fully understand, and I agree to that as well. What you just said, so I'm cool with that. Follow up question to that. So now you're not married. So same scenario, but you're
Hmm.
not married yet. But as me and you discussed about being in a relationship and being intentional, we're dating to be married again, right?
Absolutely.
So does that same rule applies while you're still dating?
Because if I'm in,
Let's
so
get
in a committed relationship.
it's not just regular dating everybody in the world. I'm talking about you're with a certain person and y'all plan on possibly moving. Like you had the conversation, so marriage is on the table, right? So you're
Absolutely.
in to get to that end goal of marriage. But in the meantime, you're still going through the motions. Y'all might live together, X, Y, Z, figuring things out. So, same scenario, taco night, whatever it may be, birthday, whatever it may be. Are you still going to move the same way, or are you going to plan it with your girlfriend and be like, "Oh, hey, I got planned this Wednesday that we're doing this"? I want to hear your thoughts on that.
I don't think my partner should ever be an afterthought. So I'm just gonna say that, right? Like whatever my partner, a man who's chosen to settle down with me should never be an afterthought. So as we're talking about it in the group chat and getting settled, yeah, I'm gonna go and be like, "Hey babe, me and the girls are talking about having girls' night on Tuesday. Um, does that work?" Right? Like, do you have any plans? Are we good? And he'd be like, "Yeah, yeah, no plans. Have fun." Or, "You know what? I was actually thinking about that we should do this." And I'm going to go back to the girls and be like, "Hey, you know what? Tuesday actually doesn't work. How about some other day in the week? Like what other day can we do?" I don't, when you're in a relationship, you're in that level of commitment, I don't think your partner should ever be an afterthought in your plans, right? Like where I can go and do solo vacations right now, like I said, whoop it up, right? Like I'm in these streets. I'm not necessarily going to do that. I do enjoy that. And I'm going to say to my partner, I do enjoy getting away, but I'm also taking solo vacations because honestly, I ain't got no man. It's just like my solo vacation isn't just because I'm like, woo woo, I need rest and relaxation. I am no man. I ain't got no man. So I don't actually have a choice. I am solo. That's why they're solo. I don't necessarily want to go with my girls. I want to go with my man. I don't have a man, so I go by myself.
So the main thing you said, not everything you just said, which is everything you said was important, but the main thing that you stuck out to me, which is very important, and this is for the ladies and gentlemen that's listen to the show live later on, whatever it may be. The man, she said, "I'll make sure her man shouldn't be an afterthought." That's the most important thing there. Like, why would you plan something and then, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this"? Oh, you are. So it's not that you're reminding me. You're kind of so you're telling me because
Telling me. Yeah.
so this is how we're doing it now. You're telling me you're doing something because of X Y Z. This wasn't run past me. So
It,
and
but isn't it partnership though? Like a relationship is a partnership, right?
It is a partnership. It should be. Keyword. It should be. But there's still people out here that want to be married or want to be in a serious committed relationship, but move a certain way. So that's a prime example of, okay, you want to be in a relationship, you want to be married, XYZ, but you're still moving as you're single. You're still moving as if, you know what I'm saying, you're by yourself. Make it make sense. Because like you just stated, I should not feel as any man or any woman. Let's go both ways, but I'm just presenting the question. So if anyone want to throw a topic out there, please respond to comments XYZ. But I'm just saying, no one in a relationship should feel like an afterthought based on something that's going on in your world, what's supposed to be our world, if that makes sense.
But to me, in a relationship, you move like a unit, right? Like you move. You're supposed to move. You should move.
Good.
Let's just say that you should move like a unit, and that is the whole point, right? And then let's go back to marriage. Absolutely, marriage. You're in a relationship. Let's think about it. And we talked about this plenty of times on the show. I have a CEO that oversees my organization. I oversee my department. She oversees all the departments. And so, funny enough, we had a conversation yesterday just because been some changes in the department. She kind of had to talk to me, said, Toshiba, do you have any plans? Like, what are you looking for? How do you see things going? And I had a document. And on the document, it had her role, some other people role, my role, and my team below me. And what was important for her was that as much as I am responsible for the strategic direction of the department, I would still go to her for final sign off, because I might be wanting to take my department in a strategic direction, but it's contrary to where she wants to take the entire organization. And so before I start making a move, just with my department in mind, because again, I'm thinking just about this is the wall, this is my department, and not the whole thing, I need sign off. Well, the same is in my marriage. I might be thinking strategically, babe, you know what, this works for us, and so I'm gonna do that. But I go to him and I'm like, honey, so this is what I was thinking. And he's like, babe, I love your idea. However, some things are happening at work, or some things are happening here, so that I haven't told you about yet. That might put a wrench in the plan. So now we're having a conversation about what works for both of us. To me, we understand that stuff at work. Why don't we understand that stuff at home?
And now, I totally agree with that. And what you just said was so important. It's based on the topic, right? The last scenario you just said about your job, because the topic is marriage, or what's the ownership? Is ownership?
It's marriage ownership, yeah.
Marriage ownership, right? You work for a company, and in your company you have your section where you have your team, and you have ownership of that particular team and department.
Correct.
When you make a business decision, you still have to work with the president to finalize XYZ before you can make any moves.
Correct.
Same relationship. That's how. So, it's on point. So it's just like relationship. You have to work with your CEO. Your husband should be CEO and CFO. You know how that works. So however level you want to do it, it's the same concept. Before you make a move or do something, you should you should speak with your partner first, XYZ, before, hey, I want to do this. We're planning this, XYZ. You made a great scenario right there, because once again, the company is not your company. It's the president, it's his company. So you still have to work with the president to finalize your decision that you're trying to do. Ladies and gentlemen, the main thing I'm trying to make a point here is that relationship, marriage, whatever, is still a business. You have to treat your relationship just like you would treat a business. If you want the relationship to be successful, you have to put the work and effort in. Just like when you go to work, you put the hard work in, you get raises, XYZ. It's the same thing with marriage. You just don't get married and it just stop. You don't get this because, oh, I'm married now. I don't got to do nothing else. I hit the plateau. Okay, okay, I gave him some kids. Okay, I'm not doing nothing else. No, it don't work like that. You have to keep putting the work in for it to work. Yes, yes, you made me gave you kids. That's my legacy that I want. But guess what? The kids still to be fed. They still to be nurtured. X, Y, Z. You still got to put the work in. But just on top of the kid, you still got to nurture the husband. You got to make sure he's built up. Vice versa. The woman, you got to make sure she built up. But she taking care of the kids all day. You got to fill her up. You got to make sure she got what she need to be good. It goes both ways. So yes, it's an ownership, but at the same time, it's a partnership, and you have to work both ways for it to be successful. I'm done.
And I love the word. They're all ships: relationship, partnership, ownership. And when we're on a ship, there's a captain of the ship. Right? It's like, wait, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what it is about certain concepts that make people get all up in their feelings about a concept like that. I think when you start breaking down and putting it on inanimate objects, it's understood, but we put it in relationships and there's this backlash. And I think the biggest thing for me too is like, how many of us actually want to be married versus having a wedding?
Mm, there we go. That fairy tale. Let's talk about it.
There is so much talk about a wedding, but do people talk about the structure of our marriage? What does a marriage look like? And I was having some recent discussions about marriage. And because I date long distance, I have to have those conversations when I'm dating guys. What does it look like when we get married? What is the structure? Am I moving there? Are you moving here? Are we moving somewhere else? If we're moving somewhere else, is it going back and forth? What works for us financially? How's that going to work? Is he investing in two homes? How are we bringing our money together when we work in two different countries? Like all of these things are being talked about. The wedding is the thing after that, right? The wedding isn't before that. The wedding, it's not like, how would you like your wedding? It's like, how would marriage work for us? For us, right? Because marriage isn't a cookie cutter concept, guys. And I think that's great. Just because your neighbor over there, or your best friend, or your sister, whatever, is doing marriage that way, that's not necessarily the way you have to do marriage. I do think marriage is an individual thing, but the concept doesn't change. The concept of marriage being a partnership doesn't change. And I don't know many partnerships where one person gets to go off and do whatever they want without checking in with the other partner. It's not even a real thing. In any other business, you do that. I've been in a partnership, and when I had to make decisions for the sake of the business, I couldn't go off and do it. I couldn't even go off and take money out of the account without sign up from my business partner because both of our names were on the business account. Both of our names were in the contract. Both of us were benefiting. I can't just make drastic changes to the show without talking to twins about it. We both have an investment into showing up Thursday night and what that looks like. I can't decide on a random, hey twins, the show's now on a Friday and send you a link and said, hope to see you on Friday. No, there's two of us involved in this scenario and say, I don't get to go off and do my own thing. So the concept that we feel that we can be married and just do our own thing and ain't nobody own me and I'm going to do what I want, stay single.
Message.
The moment, like when my best friend got married, we knew the relationship dynamic was going to change. We all knew as friends, the relationship dynamic was going to change. And it did. And we did not get angry at her, girl, now you're married and so you're moving differently. She was moving like a wife. She was single, now she's a wife. Right? When you get a promotion, you don't do what you did over here because you got a promotion, right? Do you still go back and do the work you were doing over here? Because that's where I'm at. I got a promotion recently and I needed to change the structure. how I do things. The things I used to do in my other role, I'm now handing off to other people because they're looking at me for more of a bigger strategic direction. So I don't go back over here. I'm over here. So it changes.
Now, one thing I would say, as far as the dating side of that, as far as promotion wise, right? You still do the things you did before you got promoted. You just
You
elevate.
do that.
You
You
still
do.
do the same things. I just want to clarify that when you say, because some people might take it as, oh, so I don't got to do the things I did before where I was dating him or her. So now I just do. No, 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 no. You continue doing that, but you just elevate from there. I just want to put that out there. That's one that caveat out there, just in case some people might be just a little slow. You know, maybe I'm a C student, so you never know. A's and
I
B's.
love that for you. I was an honor roll student, so
Um,
I love
I
that.
was on in gym class, you know what I'm saying? I was A+ there, but yeah.
I think communication is so key, and I am wondering, even if in our big age, there's a lot of people still living in a fantasy land and a fantasy world and an idealistic concept of what relationships and marriage are supposed to look like, because foundationally it hasn't changed. And I think the problem for people, and I hear this all the time on the other side of the internet, the problem for people is the word patriarchy comes up, right? Like,
Hmm.
marriage is patriarchy. This is a patriarchal thing, and marriage benefits men, right? Marriage only benefits men because women get older and we got to do all these responsibilities and we got to do all of this. And I'm going to tell you, as someone who's been married, in cohabitation, and being single sucks. Sucks shit. I am not for these streets. I'm going to say this over and over again. I am not for these streets. Being singular, meaning that you are only dependent on yourself financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically. It is you. There is no we. It is only you. It is I. That means that I am responsible for my livelihood. I am responsible for everything that comes with my livelihood. It is I. Relationships are we. It's togetherness. It's interdependence. It's interconnectivity. It is, if one person can't do it, you know that the other person can, right? That is what it is. And I am not sure when it became such a thing where this, I mean, and I understand from an advertising perspective, it's brilliant, right? Like, I'm a business consultant. I think it's brilliant when people market things to single people because they're there to profit. We live in a capitalist society. But that aside, I'm not sure when we were toting singleness as the way to go to, as a feminist way, because we are going to show the patriarchy. Actually, all you did was feed into the patriarchy, because now you're working for the ultimate man, stressing yourself out for no reason. So you wanted to get away from men to work for the man.
So this pretty much goes into the second part of the question, right? Of the topic, right?
Yeah.
And what is that again? The second part?
And who really benefits?
Mm. Well, clearly not the man.
Oh no. Okay, let's hear this. I'm
It's
ready. I'm here.
clearly not the man. Benefit how? How? I mean, you just do a survey, just a random survey. We'll talk to men. How we benefit? There's men out there who have to ask to have sex. There's
Not
certain,
us.
oh yeah, yes, or it gets planned. There's men out there who don't get certain stuff. Let's say the BJ, Father's Day, birthday. You know what I mean? Like 3 times a year or some shit for maybe if he lucky 5 times. Let's see. You know, um, it's the persona of the happy wife, happy life bullshit that that most
Stupid.
men got to deal with.
That's
Um,
dumb.
yeah, there's really no really benefit for the man. There's no benefit for the man to be married. Not at all. There's just not. Granted, and I can't even say have kids. I can have kids with any woman right now if I wanted to. That's why there's so many women out there who have baby daddies, because it's easy to have a kid. So that's not the problem. So what is the benefit for the man? I'll tell you, fellas, none. Now, if
That's
you
harsh.
get the right one, which is hard, but you get that right one who's gonna be by your side, then there's a benefit because she's gonna be your a helpmate to you, the real helpmate. She's gonna be a partnership to you. She's gonna be your peace. But finding that in this today's era, it's impossible
God
because
damn.
marriage is really the whole thing to be revamped. The traditional way of marriage is not the same as it is in this era. Women are quick cashing out quick. This woman been married. Most marriages now only last a year now, especially if you're a man that has money. Or some women will just play their part. I mean, I ain't though shade nothing, but Tony Braxton, you know what I'm saying? She played her role for what, 10 plus years. And then soon she got married to Birdman. She divorced him, got all that money.
She did? No, nothing about that. I need to go Google that.
And then gonna say it's not about money. Why isn't it? So why'd you was with him for over 10 plus years, and then as soon as you get married to him, soon as now legally, right, you divorce him and take all his money. Not all his money, but a big chunk. She got some millions. So how's it not about money? Or even the list is there. I mean, I don't gotta just pull shit out there. It's there. You just go on social media and just type in divorce, and you'll see it all. There's no benefit to Tariq Hill. There's no benefit to look him up. Tariq Hill, if you want to know how to Tariq Hill. But anyway, I'm back to the topic. Is it a benefit for the man? Not really. Unless you find a really, really good woman. And in this era, it's kind of hard because these independent women out here, or these strong women in XYZ, it just don't make it easy for men out here to have that peace of mind that I can find someone that I can build with. And, when things get that hard, she's not going to try to cash out and run it and get out of here. And I will land my plane right there. Go ahead.
That was a lot.
I know.
Dear future husband, skip all of that. Just joking. Don't skip it. Let's have this conversation. Here is my thing, though. So, if that is the case and men choose their wives, would it not be said that men choose faulty wives if that is their reality? Or is it that as women, we play such good roles that, like you said, we played our position? Because I feel it's somewhere in the middle, right? It's somewhere in the middle between those two. Because I would say that both parties benefit from marriage when they're marriage minded, right? And I think that's the piece that's important, right? As we talked about 10 minutes ago, there are some people who want a wedding and there's some people who want a marriage, which is based on partnership. And I question whether or not there are not signs in situations where these things do happen, that a man or a woman gets in marriage, it doesn't last long, and then there's terrible repercussions during the divorce. Are there not signs before the marriage that this could potentially be a issue down the line, and this person doesn't necessarily align with what I want? I'm going to give you an example. You brought up the sex thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is this idea that a man wants a good girl who's also a freak. I want a good girl. She's a good girl. But he also wants her to flip it, rub it upside down, take it in all the holes, right? And sometimes those things are just not congruent. They do not match. The good girl may not be the freak, and the freak may not be the good girl. So, Mr. Mike Speaks came on and said something that was crucial when he visited our show. When you think of 3 things that you want in a partner, what are those 3 things? And if you got those 3 things, you would be happy. So if you're a man who wants a woman who's going to flip it upside down, give you sex when you want, have all of the excitement, if you choose a woman who's the opposite of that, because you wanted a good girl, if she had some other qualities, and that's really important to you, then you get what you get.
So let me say this, based on what you're saying there. So,
Hmm.
like you say, we want a girl, good girl, and then who can smack and flip it, rubber down. Oh yeah,
Oh no.
right, all that good stuff. So look, so and you said, is it something that we're choosing wrong, or X, Y? What's the other
So
part?
I question: is there not something along the way to show you that, if, because you know how I always say, you need to marry the person as they are right now, assuming they never change. Right?
Right,
Marry them as they are right now.
great. So that's so. Thank you. Just for clarity for people in the back. So most men, not all men, because I don't speak in absolute. Let's make that very clear. I do not speak in absolute. But most men, when they choose or marry their woman or pick the woman, they marry to where she's at. Not where's the potential at, where she could do, where she X, Y. We married the woman, we picked the woman based on where she's at that moment.
Hmm.
Meaning, when I'm with the woman, she could be the pretty XYZ and she's smacking and flipping and rubbing it down.
Oh no. Okay.
She's doing that now. So when she does all that now, I'm like, oh, okay, here's my black book, throw it away. Oh, here's a ring, put it on. Here we go. Now, once again, I married her based on where she's at. So
Hmm.
what happens when a person changes 3, 4, 6 years into the marriage now? Because I married her where she's at. But
Okay.
then later on, she changed.
I can
So
respect that. No, here's the thing. I can completely respect that. I am 1,000%. Because if my man was doing certain things and I'm marrying him for who he is and he changes, that shit would piss me off entirely. So I think, and I think, because for me, I'm here to try to solve the issue, right? Like, we understand that there is an issue. So
mhm,
is it because this is our favorite C word on the show, is communication.
mhm.
Is there a communication gap that is existing when you go from this to something that is literally the very opposite of that? So, for example, again, homegirl flipping it, rubbing it upside down. One of the questions I was asking someone I'm talking to recently was, we were having the conversation about sex, and my biggest thing is, just because I don't have sex with men, I'm not in relationships, but doesn't mean I'm not going to have the conversation about sex. I talk about everything. I talk about money. I talk about sex. I talk about religion. I talk about kids. I talk about all of these different things because it's important. So I wanted to get a better understanding from this person in terms of how often they want to have sex, right? If we live together versus if we don't live together, right? How often is, like, how much is too much? How little is too little? What kind of sex do you want to have? Like, really having those conversations, because I think sometimes what we do is we see it for what it is and we say, yes, I like this, but we don't talk about it for what it could be. I understand that I'm in a phase of my life that I'm going through perimenopause. I'm old, people. I'm getting up there. And I would go to because I know how important sex is for me. Like, I'm actually going to my gynecologist next week and I'm having a conversation about, here is where I am. I'm afraid that this is going to impact me, even though I'm not having sex right now, sexually, because I want to get married. What can I do to potentially counter that? Because I want to have a very active sex life. Are we having conversations even to say, how active of a sex life do you want? Is like, I'm be honest, for me, I want, if I am married and live in the same house with my man, I want sex twice a day, which means 14 times a week. Okay, twice a day. That is, which means in an average month, 60 times a month, assuming all is well, I'm not sick or nothing is wrong with me. That is what I want. If my man says, well, I'm comfortable only having sex twice a week, wow, that is a huge disparity between my 14 and his 2. There's a lot of sex missing in there.
Now
Are
that
we
part,
having those conversations?
now that's the key part right there. What you just said, that's very key. Because like I said, we marry based off what she's doing at that moment, but we don't add that second layer to say, hey, what is your frequency on how you want, what is too much for you, what is too much, what is less, X, Y, Z. That part, I'll just say, as men, we don't really think about. We just think because it's happening now all the time, it's going to keep happening as time goes on, right? Especially if I'm doing the same thing I've been doing since day one I met you. If I'm doing the same thing since day one, I figure, okay, it should be on the popping all the time. I understand life happens, X, Y, Z, but that is a very good, valid question. Like you said, you want it 2 times a day. And then you ask the question back to the man, he said once, twice a week. That's crazy, but I understand that's work for him. So I can see where the disconnect is at.
Correct.
So that's
one thing. And I think it's identifying those disconnects. And we're going to hold that for a second because I saw, sorry, Mr. saw that you were making some comments. We're going to be back on another platform soon where I can see them scrolling. But Mr. makes a comment here that I'm going to put up here. He says, I don't like the word ownership for the man. Marriage is added responsibility. Her taking his name and giving up her father's name symbolize she is now her husband's responsibility, not her father's.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, these women don't understand the concept of that. Some of them don't even understand the meaning behind of me giving you your last name. You taking my last name, not the women in this era. Back in the day, they understand that concept 100%. In this era, is no. So I agree with you saying, but they don't. But they don't understand that concept. They really don't. And half of them want to keep their last name. They want to hyphen their name and your name. And fellas, if you talk to a woman and she says she's going to hyphen your name, she ain't the one for you. But I stop. Go ahead. Question.
Well, that I don't necessarily agree with. I think as long as she takes your name, that's important. But it is what it is. It is what, again, but this is where those conversations happen because we're so busy talking about the wedding. We're not talking about the marriage and what is expected. Like I said, if it is that I am with someone who says, Toshiba, I require you to take my last name, which means your last name is no longer Billings, it is X. And I say, I really want to hyphenate my last name. Why is it so important for you that I get rid of my father's name and take your name? And we have that conversation. We get to a place where I'm like, okay, babe, I'm happy to take your last name, but professionally, can I still put my name, my other name in brackets in my professional way? And those are conversations we have. And if we honestly get to an impasse where he's like, no, absolutely, you get rid of everything related to Toshiba Billings and you're now Toshiba X, then maybe we don't get married. Like, this is how minutia I'm talking about, like in terms of having these conversations. Fuck love. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yes, I am going to marry somebody I love immensely. But I think often we're missing those nitty-gritty things that come back, and thank you, Mr. for that comment, that come back to bite us in the ass. How do you want to split finances? Do you want, is having a joint account important? What is the joint account for? Is having separate accounts important? What are we doing with our investments? What about your RSP or your 401k? How are we going to even look at that when we get retired? Where do we want, like this? I am like those, when I am dating guys right now, those are the types of conversations I'm having, because it's either you're going to get to that part where you're like, wow, we are super aligned, like we are here. Or you reach an impasse where you're like, you know what, this is not going to work. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm not getting divorced the second time. It's not happening. Like, a divorce is not, like, it's not, I didn't want to get divorced first time, if I'm honest with you. But again, I told you, my husband's out there slinging Keen everywhere. But I'm definitely not getting divorced a second time. And when I say I am having real conversations, like, I am not in the land of delusion. Remember, this season's called No Delusions. Toshiba is not living in a land of delusion that I'm thinking about some fairy tale, boy meets girl meets boy, we fall in love, and it's all, pitter patter of the heart. I'm talking about some real shit. But I digress. I want to pause momentarily. Okay, this hyphenated name thing, I see, sorry, again, this stupid thing, here we go. Hold on. Hold on, here we go. Mr. Miss said if she's talking about hyphenated names, she plans to be a headache and play games of power with you. You don't need that. Get rid of her early on. And I say, ladies, if you have a man that feels very strongly about you taking his last name and you feel very strongly about keeping your father's name and hyphenating that, that is an impasse. And love is not gonna fix that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like love is not that I can love you to death, okay? But if something is fundamentally important to you and something else is fundamentally important to me and we can't get on the same page, I don't think you get married. You can love each other till the moon comes. And I am not a proponent of just getting married because you love somebody. Fuck that. Not at my big age. Love is not enough for me, but I digress.
Yeah, as far as the hyphenated, I mean, it has to be a conversation had, right? And there has to be a compromise, at the end of the day. It has to be something for me. I'll say this. For me, it has to be something substantial. You just can't say you want to keep your last name because you just want to keep your last name. Give me a reason why. Make it make sense to me, right? That's all in that scenario, I would say. Now, if you're someone who's famous and, that part, I get it. That's understandable. You know what I'm saying? Like you think about Beyonce, she's Beyonce knows, or we know.
No, she's Beyonce knows Carter. Technically, she has a hyphenated last name.
My point exactly. Like it makes sense because that's her brand. You know what I'm saying? J-Lo's, the women out there that are Rihanna. Like I get those because who they are. But if you're just somebody who's just working a regular 9 to 5 and
working at Denny's. Sorry.
You don't have president or CEO or CFO. What are we talking about? Like, no.
So again, this is where again I'm talking about sometimes there is that lack of communication going into these situations because we've said it on the show season after season, and I think I've been saying it from literally the first show I had, September 30th, 2021, that a relationship and marriage is a business. You are negotiating terms before you sign a contract. Again, if you have never been married, Twins and I will tell you, getting into marriage is easy, getting out of it is hard. Took me years to get out of mine. But I can meet a man today. We can say we're in love tomorrow, go to Vegas on Saturday, and be married by Saturday night. All we do is show some ID, pay some money, somebody gives us a thing, and we are getting married by some Elvis impersonator at 11:59.
And but a piece of paper, one-sided.
Now let us say in 3-4 years, shit, even in a year, damn, what were we thinking? Now to try to unravel that, it is not happening in 24 hours.
2 years.
Exactly.
2 years. Exactly 2 years.
Okay. The minimum it's happening without kids is 90 days. That's the minimum. But if I decide to be a bitch or he decides to be an ass and says to Sheba, I'm coming off of all this fuck your feeling stuff you're doing, all the books you have on the market because they're kicking, all of that, we could be in that shit for years, but it took us less than 24 hours to get into it. So this is why I'm saying this idealistic concept of what marriage is, we need to fuck our feelings on that for real and have real conversations. And believe it or not, even something that a lot of people would think is as trivial as, why do I need to take his last name? Because it's important to him.
Message. Now, question back to you. So, is there any benefit for you? The topic?
Absolutely. I feel like marriage, again, as someone who's been married, engaged, cohabitation, and single, I thrive in a relationship. And it's funny because I go into a lot of these female groups and conversations, and women say how they're not as at their best when they're married and they're not this when they're married, and I'm like, and all that stuff when the relationships. I'm like, you're with the wrong person, because if we choose right, we thrive. You have your biggest cheerleader, you have your biggest supporter, you've got a partner who is there for you, you are aligned. Like, when I say, when I'm talking to guys, like, again, I fail fast because I'm like, I know I don't want to live in North America for the rest of my life. So a man who's like, Toshiba, love you, but I'm gonna live in Mobile, Alabama. That's where my family live. That's where they die. X, great, you're wonderful. Not aligned with me, right? Like a man who's like, you have these shows and you have these books, and great for you while you're single, but when we're together, that's not gonna be a thing. Cut. Not for me. That's not where we're aligned, right? Like, I am looking at, because I know the benefits of having a supportive partner. I know the benefits of a man who sees more in me sometimes as I see in myself, and vice versa. Me seeing more in him and being there to support him, to be his cheerleader, to be all of that. That shit, and I've watched it happen. I see those images around me. I see it in the marriages that are around me. I see it in the long-term marriages of my friends' parents. I see it in my friends. I see it in my sister. I see it so much around me that I know when it works and you choose well on both sides, how successful that can be, how the right partnership can multiply things, right? But it's just like when you're in a bad job. Think about it. We spend 8 hours a day potentially in a job. You know when you're in a bad job how you are versus when you're in a good job, right? When you're in a bad marriage, it's going to impact you very differently when you're in a good marriage. But even though my husband, again, this was his peen just flinging around, even though my husband slung peen everywhere, I just looked at it as we were not meant to be, we were not the right two people to be married. And so for me, getting married again, I am so serious that I need someone that we are like so aligned in, and it doesn't have to be everything. We're not going to be aligned on everything, right? Culturally, we'll probably be different. There's going to be a bunch of differences, but the fundamental things that we identify as people that are important to me, I think that you have to be aligned on. And so that would be even some of the advice. It's not my dating tip, but some of the advice that I would give people who are serious and looking at marriage right now. What are the things that are important to you, whether it's top 3 or top 5? Things that are important to you, that if you were to get married to someone tomorrow, you need to be aligned on those 3 things, those 5 things, whatever those things are, because fundamentally you don't want to change that. And as you are talking or dating or getting to know someone, you need to be measuring them against those. And I'm just going to say 5 things, measuring them against those 5 things, because again, we've said it, you need to marry the person as if they would never change. So I'm not going to marry a man who says, Toshiba, I never want, the idea of living in Africa is never going to happen. I don't know these African people. I don't know this African country. I want to live in Africa in the next 3 to 5 to 7 years. That is something, that is a goal of mine, whether it's Africa or the Caribbean, but it's one of those two. It ain't North America. So any man who says that is not a thing, off my list immediately. Immediately. It's not even a thought. I don't care how much money he has. I don't care how fine he is. I don't care how tall he is. I'm not compromising that because that's important to me. A man who doesn't want me to do this show or write my books, immediately off the list, because I'm not stopping that. This is something that brings me pride and joy and fulfillment and all of those things. And so I start going down the list because I know when you get the right partner, twins, I have seen, like I look at my sister's marriage and I look, and again, you don't know what happens on the inside of someone's marriage, but you can see the successes on the outside. Yeah. And I have watched my best friend and my sister's been married for, I'd go about 25-ish, 26 years, a little less than 30 years. My best friend is going on 2012, 12. Oh, yeah, shit, 14 this year. She's going on 14 this year, and they've been together a total of 15. No, no, 16 this year. They've been together a total of 16, whatever it is, long time, over a decade. And I have watched both of those people, both the men and the women, thrive. I have watched them thrive in their careers. I've watched them thrive physically, financially. I want because they work together as partners. And when I get married again, those are the two people I would sit down with. And I would also sit down, because my father isn't here, I would sit down with my best friend's parents who just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary and seek counsel from them. And I think this is what we're missing again. We're no longer seeking counsel. We think we can just figure it out ourselves. We got the magic touch. I've been here before. I've been married before. I've been in a relationship before. I know how this works. It is important to seek counsel. I would not go into a marriage again without seeking counsel from those who have done it. Whether it's you want to go to your pastor, your parents, your spouses to be parents, whomever it is important to sit down and seek counsel. If you're looking for longevity, why have you lasted so long? What are some of the roadblocks that you had to face? What are some of the advice that you would give to me? I don't care if I get married, I still need counsel because here I am trying to do this again. So this is my pulpit. I'm going to stop here a moment. Like, I am big on marriage. I love marriage. I love the concept, and I'm not talking about the wedding. About the wedding. I can get engaged today and be married by tomorrow. The wedding I'll worry about later on, right? Like, I worry about the wedding later on, but the marriage and what that means and the success I've seen in marriage and the growth I've seen in marriage, that I think is one of the most beautiful things to see. But that's me. So I think both people can benefit.
Okay. No wrong answer there. Okay. No fault for that.
But I think even I think at the end of the day, you're not. My advice, and I'm gonna actually go into my relationship advice and dating advice early. You can't change people's mindsets, especially at our big age, right? This show is for grown folks, right? For our 35s and our 40 pluses. I'm 46 years old, and you are not going to change my mindset. Like, you are not ever going to convince me that marriage is an awful thing. I will never believe it, because my mindset has always been marriage to the right person is a beautiful thing. The institution of marriage, I think, is a beautiful thing. When you start adding some other layers, that's all together. But I am never going to not believe that. And so I just want to let people know you cannot change someone's mindset. And that is why communication is extremely important in the beginning phases of truly understand how somebody thinks about certain things that are important to you. If marriage is important to you, how do they view marriage? What was their marriage imprint? You know how I talk about love imprint? You know, what was your love imprint? What was your marriage imprint? Because if you've only seen marriages that fail, your marriage imprint may be such that you get into a marriage that lasts for a while, but it's not forever. If that's your marriage imprint and I'm looking for a long-lasting relationship, that's something I need to know. What is your love imprint? What is your relationship with money? There's someone said, like, some people have a really negative relationship with money and finances and what that means. And so fundamentally, people, you're not going to change people's mindsets. And so it is important to have those conversations before you start talking about the love and all of that. What does this really mean? And walk away when you realize that you are not aligned. Do not waste their time and do not waste your time, because the person is not going to change. That is my early relationship tip. I don't know if you want to give yours now, twins, or late, because I still had another question. But that's mine.
So what I would say is kind of piggyback a little bit off yours, but this is for the young man who's in his late 20s, maybe going to his 30s, who's thinking about getting married. One thing I would say is the communication is a very key part to understand what you're getting into, and kind of what Toshiba said earlier. Um, if something matters a lot to you in the beginning, ask that question how that's going to work out later on. Per the example, if sex is a big thing, it could be happening now because you're both young, you're both into each other, you're both bunny rabbits. But 5, 6 years in, ask her what's that frequency? Is that a big deal? Same thing with finances. Have that conversation. I mean, I think you should have a before you even get married. You should definitely have a conversation about credit reports, 401k, savings, all those things before you even get married. You should know your person's credit score before you even get married. And if that credit score is crazy, you might want to hold off a little bit, or not just the credit score, also find out student loans, fellas. If she has student loans, find out how much, because once y'all get married, that's y'all student loans. She may have the degrees, but it's y'all's student loan. But I digress for now. But go to the second part of the question that you had.
No, no. And how do we change? Oh, you know what? I'm going to ask the question different. Do you think it is possible to change some of the negativity we have today around marriage and what it means?
I think we can change it, but what we have to do is more education on it before you get married. So the conversation we have tonight, it will be a great example of things to think about before you say "I do" or before you go into that process of being married. Because I learned by trial and error. I got married when I was 28, so the mindset I have now is not the same mindset I had at 28. Everything was going with the flow, which I know you hate, but that's what it was for me. Granted, I did. And that thing you just said late, he just said maybe what 3 minutes ago or less, is that what's your imprint? Meaning that have you seen successful marriages? Do you know anyone who's still married and has been successful? And I'm sitting back and looking at mine. I'm like, well, shoot. My mom and dad were on and off. My dad got married 3 times. Let's see. My grandma, she was single. My aunt's still not single. My uncle divorced. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
so when you based on what you just said, it makes sense. Like, damn. The only successful marriage I have seen at the time was my pastor and his wife, and they're still together now. Amen.
Amen.
That's that was definitely in my marriage. That was like the number one person I went to when there were problems in relationship, and they would counsel both of us. They would do it individually, they'll do it one-on-one, together, XYZ. So that's very key to have other people that's around you. That's why I say when you get married, you can't be hanging out with your single friends. You got to find married couples to hang out with, and it's never going to work. If I'm married and I'm hanging out with single fellas, it's only gonna be trouble, and vice versa. If you're a woman who's married and you hang out with your single friends, they even worse because they mad that you got somebody, they don't got somebody, and they'll be feeding bullshit in your ear. So the point I'm trying to say is, it's really about education, and our show, I say, will help out with the generation going forward, because now that we've both been married and we know what it looks like and we know what we want, and now we have these tidbits or gems that we're able to share now. And I think today would be a great show for anyone who think about getting married. When it comes to last name, sex, finances, we talk about all those three things, which is kind of like the main things. When people do get divorced, those are some things are why they're getting divorced, because they didn't have that conversation in the beginning when it was young. And now they're figuring it out, but now I fell out of love, I grew apart. No, your expectations just have been met. And y'all felt communication with each other. Both fell to sit down and be real with each other. So that's tips for the evening.
I was about to sign off before you said that one, but I haven't even had dinner yet, people, because I went to bed because I was tired in these streets. But you said something that's so important. Your expectations just haven't been met. And again, let's take it back to a job. We all are in jobs. Oh God, I hope you people have jobs, right?
Mhm.
Twins and I have corporate jobs, and we know that in your corporate job, you have a yearly review.
Mm.
And in your yearly review, that is what you're reviewed on. Did you meet any goals that were set? Did you meet, exceed, or were you below expectation? Well, people need to start having marriage reviews and relationship reviews.
Come on
Are
now.
you meeting, exceeding, or not meeting at all expectations? We sit in our jobs. I'm gonna speak to the ladies. We sit in our jobs and we're there and we have on our professional outfits and we sit in front of our bosses and we let them either praise us or rip our asses to shreds, right? And we sit there and we don't cuss and we don't. I mean, not the women I know. We're not in these places being belligerent because they said you either just met or you could have done better. No, we say, you know what? You know what, Mr. Man, I am going to do better. And we create a plan and we do that and we work towards that because we need to keep that job, we need to keep that money. Well, I need to keep my man. To be honest, keeping my man for me, because I'm going to have a good man, Savannah. My husband's going to be a good man. And it is important that I meet and or exceed the expectations that we set as a couple that were important for our marriage to flourish. This is like, I don't see why relationships can't work if you're actually in a position where you're having those conversations. What does it mean to meet our financial goals? Are you setting financial goals? What this is how much we want to save this year, honey. Okay. And let's look at our salaries. If we want to save this amount this year, but we also want to take 2 or 3 vacations and we might need to renovate the house or something wrong with the car. How does this work? Let's put our money together, right? Here are the bills. In order for us to meet this expectation, we want to save $30,000 this year. And
Amen.
then we want 5,000 in the discretionary account for things that might happen in the house. And then we want to have,
Uh-oh. Did we lose her? Oh no.
here, this is to say, okay, well, we still need a little bit of disposable income.
Yes.
You sit down as a couple and you start talking this through. You plan to get $30,000, 30,000 over the year. This is how much we would both want to contribute. Are we contributing equally? If he makes more, he's going to say, no, honey, you're not contributing equally. So he might say, I'm going to put 20,000. I need you to come with the 10. What is 10,000 over a year? You start breaking that down. So 10,000 means that I have to put essentially a little over $800 into savings. $800 a month into saving because that's $9,600 a year. You add a little bit more, you've got your 10,000. We want to go on vacations. Okay, so we're putting this this is how serious I am about. Those are the conversations we need to have because then you're having real deal conversations about meeting and exceeding expectations. How often do we have sex? How you know what I'm saying? Like, what do I think is acceptable in terms of you being out of the house? And I know I'm a God controlling, but if I like quality time, and after work you're going to play basketball with the boys and you're going for a drink with the boys and you're playing video games 2-3 hours when you come home, or you got to drive to your mom's house because she's single and she needs you to sit with her for 2 hours on the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like let's have real conversation. Or I want to take solo trips with the girl and I'm gone for 2 weeks with my girls because we're going to God knows where. Like, let's have those conversations. And you need to start having relationship and marriage reports. Did you meet or exceed expectation? You should be having monthly check-ins in your relationship People used to make comments about the fact that me and my last relationship, we had a relationship contract, and people thought that was people either loved the idea, and some people did, and they came to us and asked us about it. Some people are like, "What kind of bullshit is that? Were you guys in a relationship contract? Well, you're in a work contract.
Message.
We all sign an employment contract, right? When we start our jobs. I don't know about anybody else, but I had to sign one. They gave me an offer letter. They gave me some expectations. They told me if I didn't prove myself in 90 days that I could get fired without cause, and they didn't have to tell me. And they tell me that if they fire me, this is how much they're going to give me. And if I want to leave them, this is how much time. I don't get to just get up and leave. I don't get to say to my job, you know what? I don't think I'm going to show up on Monday, but pay me all this month. I don't get to do that.
No.
Because I'm bonded by a contract. So why can't we get binded by one in our relationships and in our marriages? Come on, man. We got to do better. So those are my final words, and thank you for saying that. Do relationship reviews, people. Meeting, exceeding, or below expectations. You guys are like, when I say you gotta fuck your, like, my relationship, I need to fuck my feelings. My man has to fuck his feelings, because if we want longevity, I want longevity. Yeah, you got a comment? Is there something I missed?
Yeah. I want you to read a comment by Mr. Mister. If we wrap it up.
Oh, here we go. Let me put it. Okay. Mr. I am so sorry. I hate this StreamYard. We're going back on Restream next week because for some reason StreamYard, it sucks. Here we go. I think I found it. Here we go. This one, right?
Yep.
Okay. Once you're married and your partner fails that performance review, what is the punishment? ? What actions are taking to correct the behavior? You're going to put each other on timeout or go get a switch. That is funny. It is a serious question, and I'm going to give you a serious answer. You need to think about what that could be. What does that mean? Seriously. Because if your report is constantly below expectation at work, there's a couple steps that your work takes. One, you go on a PIP. So you might get a verbal warning first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So for those of you in corporate, this is what generally happens. You get a talking to. You get set up a meeting, and they say, Toshiba, we've been noticing that in the last several months, you have not been meeting the expectation that has been set for you.
Trending.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly, right? You're not trending up. Things have just kind of, been here. And so we just want to let you know we're going to give you 60 days to correct that. And I say yes, and we agree. 60 days comes. I'm still not doing. They put me on what's called a PIP, which is a performance improvement plan. And then I might get another 60 to 90 days where I am being monitored. But I know that if I don't shape up and get it together, they're going to ship my ass out, because the next step is termination. I'm fired. I have no job. I'm not doing what I was supposed to be doing. I'm not doing what my role is. I'm not doing what I'm hired. A wife is a role. A husband is a role. When I become a wife again and change my last name, okay, I've been given a role. And I remember we signed the ultimate contract, the marriage contract.
Bum, bum, bum.
Signed it. And so I know it might sound trivial and there's no love in that. Fuck love. We need to get over this, but I love him, but I love her. I refuse to be miserable, broke, tired, overworked, all of that in a marriage just because of some love. No, I'm not going to do that. If it doesn't work, I think the two people need to talk about repercussions. And what does that mean? And this is why I have no problem with prenups. Because that's essentially what a prenup does. A prenup and a postnup. A prenuptial agreement and a postnuptial agreement says, if you don't meet these expectations, if you cheat, if I cheat, if this, you can literally put anything you want in a prenup and a postnup. And there are consequences to not meeting okay, or being below expectation. So people can call me whatever they want. Like, I intend to be married until I die my next time, and you got to treat it just like you treat a business. I don't know. Your thoughts, twins. Those are mine to Mr. Mister.
So I would say to his statement, it's funny, but it's a real, I think it's a real valid question. And I think it's something that every man and woman should add to their repertoire before they go down this thing called marriage. Because what it comes down to it is accountability. That was 2 seasons ago theme, and bringing it back just for today, accountability. Because you need to have a conversation. When this ain't happening, what's the next step, right? It can't just be, oh, I'm not happy, I'm taking the court, I'm taking half. No. Shouldn't be like that. No. We need to sit down, figure out, because first off, divorce should never be an option.
Thank you.
That should be off the table. Now, unless you're being abused and XYZ, like the
cheating, those extreme things. Agreed.
Yeah. But everything's not that extreme, so we're not gonna go from 0 to 100. But you got to have a conversation about your needs not being met, if it's financially, sexually, whatever it may be, or even just mentally. Like, you know what I'm saying? This very conversation, because you can be torn down just by words. It don't always have to be physical. It can be mental. Somebody could say something out their mouth that could tear you down, literally. You have the power of the tongue. I'll be good in that one. But anyway. So yes. Once again, it's very important. So yeah, I would say, I don't know what it looks like. I don't have the answer. So, but that's something that I'm taking from tonight and using that in my repertoire now, because I do want to be married again. If I knew this information when I was my 28 years old, I would either be still single or I still be married now, because I would have had this conversation. So what does it look like when XYZ is not happening, and how can we move past this? We got to have a plan. We have a structure. You know what I'm saying? If you want this to work, then I'm work. And that's the thing, is you got to have a buy-in when you're in a relationship. Once you understand, like, before you have any conversation, wherever it may be, do you want to be with you? If the answer is yes, okay, cool. So y'all both want the same thing. So how can we elevate it and make sure we keep it on track? So I'll land my plan there.
And thank you, Mr. Mister, for the question. And Mr. Mister, I saw you have a follow-up in terms of big differences. When you get fired, you don't get to take half of the company with you. I ain't gonna disagree. And this is why I'm like, I don't know why Black people don't want to talk about prenups.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. People hear all of these stories about, oh well, prenups can be whatever. Most and let's be serious. Most of you men and women are not even that rich enough for people to even be thinking about anybody taking half of anything, to be honest. But at the end of the day, if you are concerned, sign a damn prenup. Prenup have nothing to do with love. It is protection. You use condoms to protect, and you use prenups to protect. It is protection. If you have, so just give me one second. If you have fear of loss, and it is a legitimate fear, protect yourself by signing a prenup. Period. It's a non-starter.
Totally agree. Now, I would say this about what you just said. A lot of you men is not as rich as you are. That's a fact to a certain extent, certain point. There's men who are smart enough. There's guys out there who may not be as rich as you think they are, but we make the smart investment by opening up a 401k.
True.
If you be with a company over XYZ years and they match it every year, you could 401k could be up in the millions easily. Especially if you never touched it, taking it hard as X, Y, Z. So yes, I may not be a millionaire every year making 6 figures every year, but I'm smart to put money to the side because the company will be matched. And if you were a company for 10 plus years, they're going to match it very well. And then, so therefore,
you have something to lose.
No, not something to lose. A lot to
lose. You have a lot to lose. So, but that's what I'm talking about. For those who have a lot, I'm not talking about you have to be making millions every year. But the whole portfolio of what you have to lose is a lot. Sign a prenup, right? Like, just have a woman sign. It's like a simple thing. And if she doesn't, say bye.
No, which I completely understand. But the thing is, a lot of men don't understand that concept until it's too late. That's why we're having this conversation, because most men don't think like that. I didn't think when I was my 28 years old that my 401k would be X amount of dollars. divorce, she can take half of that. That's not a thought process of mine at the age of 28. So that's what we're having this conversation now about prenups. I think prenups should be standard.
Yeah.
It should be standard. Just like birth. When child gives birth, a DNA test should be taken at that moment. That should be standard. Because is this scam going on in the world outside of credit card and emails and other bullshit? No, people are scamming men out of money out of child support.
Paternity. Yeah.
Fraud. That's growing. So, but anyway, because that's
No, we have a show called Fuck Your Feelings. It's time for people to get out of their feelings. And again, we both got married at 28. We're the same age when we got married, right? Mm-hmm. At 28, our prefrontal cortex is just developed. We don't know no shit. But at 40, in our 40s, we know better. And this show is for grown people. If my man comes to me and says sign a prenup, it's not even a question. We already would have talked about that. Yeah. I am not going to marry a man who doesn't have anything to lose. Any man who I become his wife in the next couple of years will have a lot to lose. Period. What am I doing out in these streets? So if he says, I want to protect what it is that I had before you and what it is that we wrote, because guys, let me just be clear. My last point, for those who just don't get it, a prenup simply protects what the person had prior to marriage. If you guys work together, if that man had $1.5 million prior to marriage, that is protected. If you guys grow together and your worth during that marriage is $5 million, you are both splitting 2.5.
Yes.
You just don't touch his 1.5. Let's just break it down. It's a simple thing. It is a protection of assets prior to marriage. It has nothing to do with what happens between the marriage. So as a woman who's industrious, I ain't worried about what you have before, because I know what we're going to do together. And we're going to multiply together, because we would have chosen well with each other in terms of what value we bring to each other. So all of these feelings that we get caught up into about marriage and, oh my God, but if you love me, it is a protection. Everybody protects themselves. You use condoms to protect from unwanted pregnancies and diseases, and you use prenuptials to protect from unwanted divorces.
Amen.
That is my final word. So like, share, subscribe, comment. If you love it here, please tell other people about us. We are having grown people conversation because we're here to change the conversation around Black relationships, because we want to see more people married, especially me. So if you have an uncle, a grandpapa, a papa, okay, who is looking for a good woman to be by his side, I am single and ready to mingle, because I want off of these streets. If you're someone who's currently dating me and you see this message, I want off these streets. That is it. That is all. We love you all. We will see you next week. Same time, same place. Bye.
You said
And we